Seeing BMW's i8 hybrid supercar for the first time is like encountering an alien. The car looks completely out of context against the backdrop of what we consider a normal motoring landscape. But this is no futuristic prototype. It is a normal production car that you can buy if you've got 1.7 million rands burning a hole in your pocket. Which does seem like a lot of money, but then nobody said driving tomorrow's car today would be cheap. The tech underpinning the i8 is far from mainstream, at least for now, which means those eager to experience it need to be prepared to pay a substantial premium. But the good news is that the i8 isn't just some far-fetched laboratory experiment. It's a brilliant sports car that feels every bit as special as it looks. And that's saying something, because in exterior styling terms, the i8 is a showstopper that proved irresistible to passers-by wherever we went, even on a remote mountain pass. We've never driven a car that attracts as much attention as the i8, and you can understand why. This car is science fiction on wheels. It combines the low-slung aggression of a sports car with the outlandish aerodynamics of some once-off concept. In some ways, the i8's design DNA harks back to BMW's M1 mid-engined supercar of the late 1970s and early 1980s. But this is very much a car of the future, where every curve, corner and contour has been optimized to achieve wind-cheating aerodynamics. While the overall shape is evocative to say the least, some of the details and angles are almost incongruous. But the result is always fascinating, always thought-provoking, and while it looks spectacular standing still, the i8's shape only truly comes to life when piloted with purpose. The BMW i8 is a plug-in hybrid, which means it combines a front-mounted electric motor with a rear-mounted petrol engine. That electric motor is powered by a lithium-ion battery pack, which is located in the center of the vehicle. To charge those batteries, you plug the car into a normal wall outlet or a dedicated power pack. In operation, of course, the car decides which mix of electric and petrol power provides the greatest efficiency, therefore the best consumption, and of course the best range. You can also drive the car in pure electric mode, the range about 20 to 30 kilometers, top speed 120 kilometers an hour. But if you want to drive the car and experience what a supercar is like, it combines both power sources to their maximum. It gives you 266 kilowatt, and then the car really goes. The combined power delivery also effectively endows the i8 with all-wheel drive, which adds to the high-speed traction and composure of the car. Add the very low center of gravity and a curb mass of under 1,500 kilograms, and the result is undiluted sports car. The cabin of the i8 is both instantly familiar and futuristic. The multifunction steering wheel, the color display and the iDrive control interface are all pure current generation BMW. High-backed seats provide comfort and support, while the equipment list is comprehensive. Not quite as apparent is the generous use of carbon fiber reinforced plastic to create a very strong but very light safety cell. Conventional instruments are replaced by a one-piece TFT display that changes according to the driving mode selected and keeps tabs on aspects like battery status and range. Compared to the next-gen exterior though, the cabin is more supercar than spaceship. The i8 might be a sports car, but it's also big and it has big doors, and yet it's quite difficult to get in and out, mainly because of a fairly wide sill and this low roofline, while the seats themselves are quite deeply set. Also, the rear seats, for what it's worth, are probably better off being used as extra luggage space, because the boot itself is just a small box behind the petrol engine, and it gets so hot in there that if you had a box of tomatoes in there, you'd probably end up with them cooked by the end of the trip. Let's face it though, i8 owners won't be put off by its lack of practicality, because this is a sports car, and sports cars are created with performance and driving pleasure as the key motivators. However, does the i8's futuristic drivetrain contribute to or detract from its dynamic appeal? Driving the i8 is a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde experience because in comfort and Eco Pro modes it feels completely serene and unflustered, although there is quite a bit of urge on offer if you boot the throttle. But if you want to experience the i8 as a sports car, you combine the resources of the electric motor and the petrol engine, you switch to sport mode, you shift the gears manually, and you have a car that does a 0 to 100 in 4.4 seconds and a top speed of 250 kilometers an hour. The rider here is that those elevated performance levels are only on offer in short bursts, while the battery has enough charge to spin the electric motor to its maximum. Once the battery's charge is depleted, you end up with considerably less muscle, at least until the battery can be recharged. Because this is a hybrid car, fuel consumption is obviously a focus point, and BMW claims an almost unbelievable figure of 2.1 litres per 100 kilometers. Driving the car in Eco Pro or in comfort modes, the real fuel consumption is probably more like 3 to 4 litres per 100 kilometers, which is quite impressive. But if you start using the sport mode all the time, it goes up quite dramatically, and you're probably looking at between 7 and 8 litres per 100 kilometers, which quite frankly, in supercar terms, is still pretty good. One should also remember that sustainability is a central theme of the i8 and all of BMW's iCars, which means that the car is produced using only renewable power, that it offers very high levels of recyclability, and that its low mass and hybrid drivetrain allow far greater levels of efficiency. Ultimately, it isn't as quick as a straightforward supercar, but the i8 experience includes environmental awareness as a theme that's actually enjoyable to explore. You're looking at the future of motoring, perhaps not this spectacular shape nor the advanced technology that it contains, and certainly not the 7-digit price tag. But this is the next big step in mainstream motoring. And while this car will remain the domain of the privileged few, the technology that it contains will become increasingly affordable and increasingly accessible. The BMW i8 ups the hybrid car ante in a way that's both thrilling and impressive, not only because of the pioneering car it is today, but because of what it heralds for the motoring future. A hybrid drivetrain delivers an impressive combined total of power and torque while also providing all-wheel drive and frugal fuel consumption. Add futuristic styling and sports car handling and the i8 is a significant motoring milestone. Pity about the tiny boot, and the full performance potential is only on offer while the batteries last.